How important are these kinds of commemorations? We've seen commemorations yesterday in Portsmouth. Now we have the British ceremony that's wrapping up, and then we're going to have the Franco-American ceremony. So lots of pomp around, this remembering.
Yes, it's very important, this remembering. And you have to know that it was not the case since 1945. From 1945 until 1954, the commemorations were quite local. Sometimes a minister coming from Paris. It's only in 1954, the 10th anniversary, that you had the President of the Republic, René Coty, then. And 1964, 10 years later, de Gaulle did not want to come to the D-Day because he had many bad souvenirs of the D-Day, many bad souvenirs of his relations with Roosevelt and Churchill, who didn't tell him, they only told him the 4th of June, 2 days before, and he was furious because the Americans wanted to have occupation money, and he was in row with Churchill, and he was complaining with Churchill, and Churchill said, if I have to choose between Roosevelt and de Gaulle, I'll always choose Roosevelt. They have to choose between Europe and the open sea. I will always choose the open sea. And The Guardian, just a few days ago, delivered a letter which was not sent by Churchill, who wanted to dismiss de Gaulle. He wanted to say, well, planes are waiting for you. If the weather permits, you go, because you tried since 4 years to have... He didn't send the letter because de Gaulle finally accepted to speak to the radio and finally sent a few instructors. It's only in 1984 that you have a big ceremony with François Mitterrand, and since 84 you have every 10 years a very big ceremony. The idea is to make understand the young people how young people
lost their lives
at 20 years old, and many lives. So the souvenir. It's also, and of course, particularly this year with the Ukrainian war, the idea that it's democracies which were fighting then on the beaches of Normandy, and that democracies have to keep links, quite strong links against the aggression of Putin in Ukraine.
I want to talk about the American role, because up until this point, America was quite isolationist 80 years ago, and then of course we saw their involvement back helping liberate Europe, and then we have the ceremony where we have the US President Joe Biden, who's going to demonstrate essentially to America's allies that we have your back.
Yes, that isolationism was not always a very good idea for America. You had some isolationists before the First World War, and finally Americans came in 1917. You had a sort of isolationism in the 20s, but it changed in the 30s, and the Americans were there again to fight, to defend democracy. And in the context, the American context now, you have also quite a temptation for isolationism, and that's why Biden, he wants to show how important is America. You know, the paradox is that the D-Day, it was not the American soldier the more numerous, 40,000 on 130th. 80,000 British, 14,000 Canadians. So you don't have to forget, of course, the British and the Canadians. But, of course, for America, it's very important, because in the days coming afterwards, of course, the Americans will be very, very numerous in the Battle of Normandy.